Senator, the Senate has come out today to say we will postpone the debate over the 2018 budget. Fill us in on what exactly is in the mind of the lawmakers, especially when the executive is thinking of regularizing the budget year. Are we on course?
Well, thank you, Sheon. I think sometimes we tend to bring some things as the most important things rather than just, something I see as ancillary. The fact of the moment is that budget is where we express our desire to provide good governance and then to, of course, ensure that the welfare and security of our citizens is guaranteed. So for me, I think right now we have a budget that is an operational law. And surprisingly, many people are not even asking what is the level of implementation of this 2017 budget. And yes, it is important that we try to regularize the cycle, which has been, with us for quite a long time. But I think, to my mind, regularizing it is not that important when you compare it with the issue of implementing the budget itself. But be that as it may, yes, the desire to regularize it to the January-December budget cycle is there. But the reality too is that it will take quite a while, because if you look at the present scenario and why we actually have to even push the debate of the budget, which ought to have started tomorrow, is simply because we also realize the issue of the medium-term expenditure framework has to be considered. And like you can see, this is fraught with quite some technical challenges, and which is not our own making. But be that as it may, we also said that we wanted to take it, concurrently. Last week, we thought we would be able to finalize that, and then maybe today, Tuesday, we will have been able to debate the fiscal strategy paper. But due to some technical reasons, that wasn't possible. That is why we decided to shift it by 1 week, so that we've had a meeting today with the Minister of National Planning and then the other revenue agencies to consider all of the submissions in the medium-term expenditure framework. So arising from this, we are hoping that we'll use this week to early next week, Monday, Tuesday, to process and get it passed. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, we will now be able to start, actually from Tuesday, we will now be able to start the process of debating, the basic fundamental principle of the 2018 budget. And then from there, of course, is committed to the appropriation committee, and thereafter to the various subcommittees, so that the process can then begin from there. So for me, let me say, yes, we are on course, but of course, it's also possible that we may experience 1 or 2 delays.
Realistically, Senator, do you think that this budget could be passed in January or so?
Honestly, it's difficult for me to come out and make a commitment, because right now we are looking at all the issues. There are quite a number of issues. And remember, the implementation of the 2017 budget is there. We've been told that the executive plan to see what they can do to get it to 50% implementation. How that will be achieved, I think these are issues that we'll need to see. And the rest will be rolled over into 2018. So you see, if you look at it from that perspective alone, there are some technicalities that definitely we must overcome if truly we must achieve that. Now, do not forget that statutorily, when you enter December, there are holiday periods that you cannot ask people not to go on. So these are also challenges that we must put at the back of our mind. And because of that, there may be some delays. But I cannot tell you categorically whether that January is feasible or not. But we are working, and we are doing our best to see that, yes, we keep up the work and see how far we can go.
We will come to the details of the 2017 and, of course, the 2018 budget. Let me ask Mr. Onyekpere, you've been watching on the sideline, monitoring and breaking down some of these issues. With the calendar and the purpose of the executive wanting to regularize the budget calendar and what you have seen so far, what are your concerns?
The first thing is that the medium-term expenditure framework will have to be approved by the National Assembly as a basis for the consideration of the budget, because all the parameters in the budget, whether it's a revenue framework and quite a number of other issues, will have to be contained in themselves as a basis for them to be put in the budget. So regularization should be what the National Assembly should be working towards. But if you look at the trajectory of the length of time it's taken them to pass the budget since 2015, you will discover that thinking of having this budget approved by January 1 will be an impossibility. So I don't see that happening. The earliest this budget will be ready, at the risk of sticking out my neck, but I'm not in the Senate or in the House, will be by the end of the first quarter. And I also think that the National Assembly seems to be more concerned about how much of the 2017 budget had been implemented. But I also need to remind them that part of the delays also came from them. Look at the time that the 2017 budget was approved. And look at also that it was just last week that they approved the borrowing request from the executive for funds to be able to use to implement the 2017 budget. So if I were to say, I would say that they should simply and quickly and expeditiously approve the 2017 budget. Let the projects that were not implemented in 2017 be rolled over to 2018 so that we start afresh and have a new calendar, a proper calendar that should run from either January to December or maybe February to March, instead of this time starting in the middle of the year by June. So I think if they commit, they get more dedicated to their work, they can approve it early, but not necessarily in January because of the circumstances they find themselves in. But at the same time, they should not continue insisting that until finish implementing the 2017 budget, that we cannot go over to 2018. Let the projects be rolled over. That should resolve the challenges.